kitchen friends. I am back to do a little bit of cooking today, and today I want to share with you my recipe for beans and rice. Now, I want to give you a disclaimer about my beans and rice. It's not traditional beans and rice. This is a really easy, quick recipe where you're kind of cutting some corners, but it tastes so good. I started making this 25 years ago when I went to a kind of a green grocery in Memphis called the Squash Blossom, and had their rice and beans that day. And I was like, this is so good. How do you make this? And they were kind enough to tell me how they make it. So this rice and beans recipe, you use I already put my bag of rice up. I use brown rice because that's what I was using at the time. I would only use brown rice back in those days, and so that's what I got used to. So that's what I use, brown rice. So I use a cup, 3/4 of a cup or a cup of the brown rice, and then I cook it. So whatever that comes out to cooked. The brown rice, a jar of salsa or picante sauce. Now at the time, it was paste picante sauce, and I would get the medium-sized jar of paste picante sauce. But now I shop at Aldi's so much that I just get the Aldi's mild. I like to use the mild salsa, and it works great. You're going to need a can to 2 cans of beans, depending on how beany you like your rice and beans to be. I cook my beans from the dried bean bag. So I put like a cup to a cup and a half of dried beans on to cook, and I cook them in my Fissler pressure cooker. So I can do that in about an hour. I can have my beans all done, and I know exactly what's in those beans. There's no foreign matter in there, which the canneries are allowed a certain amount of foreign matter to get into their products. So I just really like to use the dried beans, and I use them in my pressure cooker because it's fast and it's efficient. And then you're also going to need some cheese. I like to use sharp cheddar or the Mexican, usually just whatever I have on hand. I don't really prefer one over the other. They're both good. And let's see, so we've had our rice, our beans, our salsa, our cheese. The only other thing is, back in the day when I was making this, I would put it in a casserole dish, and I would serve it on a plate and just eat it with a fork with some crispy tortillas on the side, which was delicious. And I was serving that one night for dinner to the family, and my husband said, you know what, this would be really good rolled up in flour tortillas. And I said, you're right, it would. So now that's what we do. That kind of made a bang. But that's what we do. And we started taking them to the ball fields with us when we were at soccer or lacrosse or anything like that. And it was a great little handheld food item for us to have between games, during games, because oftentimes we were there during mealtime and I needed to feed the family. So it's great for that too. So if you've got kiddos in sports, this is a great item to take to the fields to eat. I just put it in a 6-pack Playmate, with no ice, of course, and made sure they were hot when they went in. And then when it was time to eat, we opened that bad boy up and went to town eating these delicious roll-ups. So right now I've got my rice is cooking. I've already put like a cup and a half of water. I brought it to a boil, and once it was boiling, I put the rice in there and I let that boil for like a solid minute, and then I put the lid on and lower the heat to simmer. So I'm going to check on this to see if it's ready. Not quite ready yet. It's still pretty soupy. So I'm going to let that cook some more. I'll pause this and I'll come back to you when it's time to put everything together. Just wanted to give you a look at the rice so you can see. I took the lid off and want you to see it cooking. See how it's got some bubbling action going on there? When you take your lid off, you want to see some action going on with some making bubbles. The lid came off, I don't know, 30 seconds ago because I was getting the video to start, so it has actually calmed down a little bit now. I'm going to put the lid back on, but when I'm cooking rice, I like to keep it lidded so that it recirculates all of that steam in there and sort of steams and cooks the rice at the same time. But as you check on it, just make sure that there's some bubbling activity going on in your saucepan so that you know that it's doing something, that you don't have it set on too low of a temperature. If it's too low, it's just going to take forever. So just check that from time to time. Okay, I'm back. I think the rice is ready, so I'm going to pull the lid off and show you how you can tell. Sorry about my hand in the way there. Not the best at this. Turn that down there where you can see. Okay, so you take this lid off, and as you'll see, you can pull back some of the rice and see it's all nice and dry in there. There's no liquid doing anything. So now is the time to just fluff it all up. And I'm going to move over to the island and we'll combine everything. Hey, I'm back. So here we are at the island, and we're going to just start combining everything together. So we're just, excuse me, just going to empty out our rice here. It's all nice and fluffy. And I'm going to reserve a little bit out just in case I have too much rice, because I want to make sure I have enough salsa that everything is nice and moist. We don't want it to be, dry. Then I've got our beans that we cooked in the pressure cooker earlier. Add those in. And then the salsa. I'm going to just combine and add as I go. Oh, my robot vacuum cleaner is starting. I'm going to go turn her off. Hang on. I love my robot vacuum cleaner. I've named her Hazel, and I just love her, but she's not good to have around when I'm trying to do a cooking video. So anyway, I'm adding and combining. I'm going to add some more salsa now. So, oh yeah, that looks nice and moist. See, it's not dry. It's nice and moist. Now, if I were going to put this in a casserole dish and serve it on a plate, I would go ahead and put probably a cup of shredded cheese in here now. And then after it was heated through and through in the oven, I would top it really well with another cup of shredded cheese. But I'm going to put these in roll-ups with my flour tortillas. I'm going to make roll-ups with all of this today. So I'm going to go ahead and put all of my cheese in here together so that when I make my roll-ups, I don't have to be messing with adding cheese or anything to it. It's just going to already be in there. That was a 2-cup bag of shredded Mexican style cheese. Just get that all mixed in well. And then the next thing I'm going to do is show you how I wrap these into the roll-ups. And I'll probably put a few of them in the refrigerator for immediate use, and then I'll put the rest of them in the freezer. So I wrap them in foil, and then I put them in a plastic gallon-sized freezer bag so that it's in a freezer bag, because that does help protect against freezer burn. All right, I'm almost ready to do this. I'm gonna pause for just a second and get the tortillas ready. Okay, so here's my tortillas. These are the burrito size. They're called large burrito flour tortillas. So they're about 10 inches in size. So they don't roll real easy when they're room temperature like this. What I have found works really well is to just put 2 or 3 at a time in the microwave for like 30 seconds just to soften them up. and then I can roll them. All right, so we're gonna let that do that. Meanwhile, what I've done is I have gotten some sheets of foil ready. So this is about, I don't know, 10 or 11 inch size sheets, and I will roll the tortillas on these sheets of foil. Almost ready. I'll go ahead and pull those. I'll go ahead and pull those out now. All right, so grab a tortilla. Let me get this down here where you can see. There we go. So grab a tortilla, spread out a little of your mixture on there. I'm gonna say this is probably a half to 3/4 of a cup that I'm spreading out on here. And notice how I leave a little lip at each end, because you're going to turn that in. So you're going to fold that in and then pull this over and then just kind of pull it back and then roll it nice and tight. And then just leave it at a diagonal on your foil. Pull that over, pull in a side, pull in a side, and now you can just roll it up. Nice and neat. I'll show you another one, just in case you didn't catch that one. Grab your tortilla, put about a half to 3/4 of a cup of your mixture in the center and kind of make a little log out of it. Don't overload it, you'll be sorry. And then just pull in your side, bring this over, and then pull it back to kind of get you a tightness there, and then roll it. And there's your tortilla. It's ready to eat right now, or do what we do and save it for later. All right, so that's how it's done. I really hope you will enjoy this recipe. Work with my setup here. Hope you'll enjoy this. And these are awesome for lunches for your kids. Our youngest one, when he was a toddler, was in daycare, and he took rice and beans to daycare quite often for his lunch because it was a great little meatless choice. And with that in mind, I forgot to say that sometimes I will shred up some chicken, maybe add some Emeril's Southwest seasoning to it, to the chicken, and throw that in my mixture. And now you've got rice and bean roll-ups with some shredded chicken in it too, and that's delicious. So enjoy this. I'm going to put the recipe and the measurements at the end of this video. Please be sure to like and share my video. If you're watching on social media, know that I also have this on YouTube on my Homemade with Valerie L is my YouTube station. So you can go there and watch this again and again and again and share it. Thanks everybody. It was great cooking with you today. So enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.